YouTube. 10 years old. 10 years of obscure pop culture comedy in the forms of YouTube poop.
Hey, you!
10 years of AMVs. 10 years of internet celebrities.
Banking! Extremely quick to anger!
You mean monkey?
Banking!
No, that's definitely a monkey.
Banking!
Whatever!
And 10 years of controversy.
I want to say that you guys have ruined my life.
YouTube has had its good moments.
I'm dressed too sexily and you don't like it? Stop oppressing me!
And its bad moments.
Fuck you all you 13, 14, and 15-year-old fucking little kids who are telling me I need to fucking lose weight!
Of course, extended periods of time are what we call sagas. So strap in and revisit some of the most notable sagas to have occurred in YouTube since its beginning. Hello, friends and subscribers. Here we are at episode
9.
Yes, episode 9. The second to last for this very season. And we are in for something of a callback to episode 3, which I will explain in a bit. But before doing that, I would like to acknowledge that the year is 2016. No, I'm not going to mention the fucking election. Instead, we are going to recognize the anniversary to one of the internet's most popular and influential celebrities, who created, to my knowledge, the longest running web series right here on YouTube. And for those who took a look at the title of this video and are familiar with the background of the subject matter, it should come to no surprise that I am referring to none other than the Angry Video Game Nerd, a character and show created by James Rolfe. As the Angry Video Game Nerd implies, he makes angry reviews about shitty games. He initially reviewed games on the NES, but then extended to shitty games on even the most obscure video game consoles that were on the market in the 1980s and even most of the 90s. James's first two reviews actually predate YouTube by a year, and in 2004 he made two videos reviewing Castlevania II, Simon's Quest, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But it was not until 2006 that James started making videos on a regular basis, under his moniker, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Now, as some of you know, James was, and still is, hugely popular and extremely influential, inspiring other peoples to make their own unique video and movie reviews, such as Game Grumps, particularly John Tron. He also influenced the Nostalgia Critic, with whom he had a pretend rivalry with, possibly Angry Joe, and then my man, Brandon Tenold. But just like anything that is great, imitation became inevitable. Some great, some not so great. And by now, I think you know where we're going with this story. We are now brought to the subject of today's video, as it involves something of a feud, although it was mainly one-sided, and deals with yet another mostly reviled individual, but not as reviled as Venom Fang X. The individual I'm describing is the infamous Irate Gamer, who looks like a younger version of Vince McMahon. Some of you younger viewers may not be aware of this guy as much as, say, Boxy, but this guy is worth examining for several reasons. But before we do, let's look back prior to the time when he first appeared, almost a decade ago in April 2007. By April 2007, YouTube had already defined itself as the go-to website for videos on the internet, and it was still many years before several popular online series based on YouTube were even conceived. Hell, Why Do People Laugh at Creationists didn't even come into the scene about several months later. But arguably the most popular online video series at that time was the aforementioned Angry Video Game Nerd, created by the aforementioned and legendary James Rolfe. Shortly after the inception of the Angry Video Game Nerd, he found an unprecedented level of popularity, and with such sudden and strident popularity, it was only a matter of time before others started to try to cash in on it. Enter the Irate Gamer. The Irate Gamer is Chris Michael Bors, who uploaded his first video to YouTube on April 28th, 2007. His first review was the Back to the Future game for the NES, but we're not going to look at it right now. Instead, we're going to look at one of his reviews in which he made his own bitchin' intro to. Pretty neat. But back to mentioning the angry video game nerd and people trying to cash in on his popularity. I bet some of you who are uninitiated are thinking, so back to what you said, was he trying to cash in on the angry video game nerd success? Well, let's take a look at some glaring similarities between the two on the surface. Like James, before he reviews a game, he usually gives a pop culture lesson to the uninitiated. If reviewing a piece of pop culture that was adapted into a video game, he'll dedicate an entire episode on it and review it on whatever consoles it came out. He uses excessive profanity and has backgrounds filled to the brim with vintage game posters and NES cartridges. He also uses costume characters, shoots the bird, and even destroys games that piss him off because of how bad they are. Well, these are only on the outside. What about the actual substance to the Irate Gamer's reviews? Well, let's check out the very first video where he reviewed Back to the Future.
Now it's time to pop this video game in and play the game. And your objective of all things is going around trying to collect clocks, which has nothing to do with the basic plot of Back to the Future. But along the way you're going to have all kinds of things to avoid. Way too many. There are things like trash cans, hula hoop girls, park benches, potholes, big bullies, things that look like coffee cups, what the fuck? And these two guys that walk back and forth carrying a plate of glass, which seems to be invisible to the naked eye until you crash into it. By the way, what the hell are two delivery men doing out in the middle of the street with an expensive piece of glass anyway? And while we're at it, why is Marty wearing a black sleeveless shirt? Shouldn't this be red? Now, if you aren't hard of hearing, the background music of this game should be driving you to the point of insanity. Now, it's not that bad, but for starters, this music was not even in the movie. And because it's looped over and over and over again, it's gonna drive you absolutely insane. It's nice and refreshing to see a change of scenery after 4 levels of the exact same stuff. This game is so bad, I wish I could just go back in time and stop it from ever being created.
Gee, am I the only one who had deja vu when watching this?
So you're walking through Hill Valley and every single thing you can imagine is out to kill you.
Holy shit!
Bullies, hula hoop girls, killer bees, and guys holding glass windows, just like in the movie. What happened here? What are those guys doing with that window anyway? And why are those giant bees always coming out? Give me a break. Not to mention, it doesn't even look like Marty. Look at that black helmet head. Also, when did he ever wear that sleeveless black shirt? And you gotta love that music.
Great Scott!
Sounds just like the movie, right?
No!
And that's it. It just loops over and over again. And you're not gonna believe it, but that's all you hear the entire game.
I don't believe it!
Yep, from the title screen all the way to the end, the same fucking music.
No!
I'd rather have a fucking buffalo take a diarrhea dump in my ear than subject them to this horrendous garbage. Now about the gameplay, you go to the cafe, which by this time is a breath of fresh air to see something different and get a break from that horrible music.
I wish I could go back in time to prevent this game from being made.
Well, fucking A. You know, I'm sorry. This isn't going to amount to much pre-saga build-up before we hit the main focal point on the Irate Gamer. But yeah, to say the Irate Gamer is a cheap, angry video game nerd ripoff would be a gross understatement. Here he is practically outright plagiarizing James. I bet there are some uninitiated here, or even some Irate Gamer fanboys, if any still exist, thinking, "Oh, come on, it could be just a coincidence. Why not give Chris the benefit of the doubt?" Yeah, just a coincidence. And further evidence that this is obviously more than just a coincidence, let's take a look back at that intro again. Now let's squint our eyes back on the angry video game nerd. Yep, just a coincidence, I am sure. But anyway, throughout 2007 AD, the Irate Gamer got to work on making his videos reviewing games for his channel. In these videos, he had three reoccurring themes. The first being that unlike the person he was ripping off, he decided to take a play from George Lucas's playbook and overuse special effects, even though they were not enough to make up for the other two themes that were abundantly clear to most people who saw them. Those being that he was not funny, and most strikingly a lot of the time was that he had no fucking clue what he was talking about, making his knowledge of video games on par with that of Anita Sarkeesian's.
That woman!
As early as a few months later, in September 2007, it became undeniably clear to many that the Irate Gamer was in fact a ripoff of the angry video game nerd, and that was not even his only sin. The first person to expose this was a user by the name of Silent Rob. Wait, Silent Rob? Gee, I wonder where he got that from. But anyway, in September 2007, Silent Rob released an Unsolved Mysteries video detailing the obvious takeaways from the Irate Gamer, but first inserts a lot of "the Irate Gamer likes cockstick" in the beginning, which, if I'm going to be honest, I find a bit unfunny, if not unnecessary. But hey, we're not going to watch those parts. We're going to skip to the important parts of the video, so let's watch. Whoa. Holy shit, guys. You see that poster? I want it. Because it's fucking Killers by Iron Maiden. This guy must have some great taste in music. Oh, sorry. Let's carry on.
On April 23rd, 2007, a user by the name of Irate Gamer registered on YouTube. Right off the bat, many hardcore YouTubers noticed a similarity between him and the user Angry Video Game Nerd. See if you noticed the similarities. Personally, I don't see the similarities. But with us today in a very rare and in-depth interview is YouTube user Silent Rob to give you his opinions. Personally, I think he's a fucking chode. He's a...
Jesus fucking Christ, that is quite the collection of Metals posters. Let's see, we got Peace of Mind, Blizzard of Oz, Last in Line by Dio. Good taste indeed. And I can't tell due to the shitty quality of this video, but is that Heaven and Hell in the lower corner? Looks like it. I wonder if Razorfist hooks this guy up with his interior decorations. Oh, sorry again.
A fucking chode. I could have ended the interview right there, but I wanted more information. You want to know my true feelings on the Irate Gamer? I think he's nothing more than a goddamn AVGN ripoff. And you hear that term being thrown around a lot on YouTube lately, but this guy is why that term was invented in the first place. This guy is the worst kind of ripoff. He's a ripoff with no heart or soul in the movies. He's a guy in it just to get famous. He's like the AVGN if the AVGN wasn't funny at all and did nothing but special effects constantly. That's this guy. This guy is not a game fan, alright? He doesn't even know what he's talking about half the time. Hell, on his Muscle review, the motherfucker got so much shit wrong it was unbelievable. You could play Muscle for 5 motherfucking minutes and figure out that the fucking characters have special moves. This motherfucker said they had no special moves.
So after picking your fighter in the beginning, it's pretty much all downhill from here. The only thing you can do in the ring is punch, jump, slam, and that's pretty much it. The rest of the time you just hop around like idiots trying to land a blow. There are no special moves, no combo moves.
Alright, are you kidding me? And then the motherfucker makes a Mario 2 video. And that's fine, okay, diss on Mario 2, alright? But he makes it a complete personal quest. He makes it his personal feelings on the game. That, oh, I didn't like the enemies, I didn't like the last boss, who gives a fuck? Point out the technical problems that were with the game. He didn't do any of that.
First off, there's nothing remotely familiar in this game that was included in the previous ones. There's no coin boxes, no Goombas, no turtles, and worst of all, the ending boss isn't even King Koopa. Instead, we are treated to a whole new cast of goofy and oddball characters, things like Sniffets, Shy Guys, and Bob-ombs. And the real shit shocker is that the villain of the previous game has now been replaced by a fat frog named Wart. This makes no sense whatsoever.
None of it. He's horrible. Alright, he's gonna diss on Mario 2? Out of all the games you can review, you're gonna diss on Mario 2. And then he tries to make up for it at the end by saying, oh, but I love the GBA version of the game. Too late, asshole. You've already made your point. Alright? It's a joke. This guy is a joke. Anybody who watches him gets dumber as they watch him. He's horrible. But, you know, whatever. I wanted to make this video to make a point. That this guy is a fucking loser. Quit watching him. He sucks. Alright? See you guys later.
You know, I can't really comment. As established in episode 2, I was born in the early 90s. I didn't get my first console until I was 5, and that was the original PlayStation. I actually never saw an NES or Super NES or any of these other vintage consoles from the 80s up close and in person until I befriended a kid from my high school who had them because his dad had them in the 80s. But anyway, the last thing to take away from Silent Rob's video was that the Irate Gamer's upcoming review of the Ninja Turtles game would be a near carbon copy of what the Angry Video Game Nerds was.
And look at this shit right here. These spike walls come at you like an Indiana Jones booby trap, and some game designer who's laughing their ass off just decided to put a pizza down there. Okay, well, what's the point? I mean, are you going to be suicidal enough to go and try to get that pizza? I mean, who's going to do that? It's impossible. What a joke.
Just what the fuck were they thinking when they placed a pizza box way down here? Now, just how the hell am I supposed to get to this in time? If I go for it, I end up dying. So what's the reason for this? What a bunch of Aspergers with a side of fries.
Come around and deactivate all these bombs. And there's so many things out there to kill you, and you have a time limit, so naturally, you're rushing to make it through as fast as you can. And all these electric plants hurt you, so you need a lot of patience. But how could you have patience when you're in a fucking hurry? Fuck!
And if that wasn't enough, in this section, they leave only a small space for you to try and swim through. Now in any other game, I probably could have taken my time to swim through it safely. But, oh, I'm sorry, I've only got 1 more minute to disarm 6 more fucking bombs. I don't have time to deal with this bullshit.
Okay, here's a trick I think everybody knows. When you're fighting Rocksteady, you jump up onto these crates with Donatello and you just keep hitting him with your bow. Now what's really weird is the timing. I mean, you have to hit him when he's sort of ducking, not when he's standing up. I guess that would make too much sense. So it's obviously a game flaw.
Check this out. Choose Donatello, jump on the crates to the right, and just beat him with your bow. And for some reason, he only gets hurt when he ducks down lower than he already was. Doesn't this defy some law of physics?
Instead, make way for the missile balloons, flying robot head, those little butterfly things, Mr. Fireman.
And who was that guy with the chainsaw anyway? Remember him from Ninja Turtles? I sure don't.
And talking about enemies, what the fuck is up with the enemy selection in this game anyway? Eyeball plants? Rocket pack flyers? Guys on fire? Do you ever remember seeing these guys from the cartoon? Because I sure the hell don't. Either that, or else I missed the episode where Leatherface comes to visit.
Cowabunga. Cow a fucking piece of dog shit.
What a piece of cowabunga shit!
Speaks for itself, and the concluding evidence that unauthorized borrowing from the Angry Video Game Nerd would be Chris's method of trying to make himself big. And even in videos where they're reviewing two different games, the Irate Gamer can't help but to resort to unauthorized borrowing.
I mean, this game just pukes snot up my ass. I mean, it's like you touch the top of the building, you die. You touch the ceiling, you die. You touch the floor, you die. Too far to the right, you die. Too far to the left, you die. You die, you die, you die, 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 die.
Now, if you hated the log ride, I guarantee you're gonna hate this flying carpet level even more, since anything you touch here will instantly kill your ass. Touch the ceiling, you die. Touch the ground, you die. Touch the lava, you die. Even if you think about touching anything in this level, you will die.
Die. Rise!
No! Huh. Who the hell's that? I think that's Ultra Mega Chicken. Okay. We're trying to let go of this hound now?
Touch the lava, you die? Well, no shit. But the final piece of evidence we saved for last, I give you a few short seconds that shuts down any remaining benefit of the doubt.
What a shitload of fuck.
What a shitload of fuck!
What a shitload of fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Without a doubt, the Angry Video Game Nerd's de facto catchphrase, and at this point, he's not even trying to hide the fact he's plagiarizing him. Seriously, before the Angry Video Game Nerd, has anyone heard the phrase shitload of fuck before uttered by anyone on the internet, big or small? No. If anyone has, I name thee a teller of falsehoods. Well, when these highlights surfaced, the fanboys of both reviewers waged flame wars against each other, but it was only a matter of time before either of them came to terms with each other. And leading the Irate Gamer's fanboys was, of course, the Irate Gamer himself as the primary suspect with sock puppet accounts, and the account Irate Fanboy 345 being the primary suspect, as he made videos making immature and outlandish claims that the Angry Video Game Nerd was in fact the one who ripped off the Irate Gamer and not the other way around, and the Angry Video Game Nerd's 15 minutes of fame was almost up despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary on both of those claims. The Irate Gamer, like Venom Fang X, did not appreciate people making videos parodying him or criticizing him, and he used false DMCAs under his non-existent company name Y2B Productions to file the claims. Because Chris was a YouTube partner, they were more willing to take his side. Anyway, around the time he uploaded his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review, the Irate Gamer sent a message to the Angry Video Game Nerd's channel, James Nintendo Nerd, which was what he called it at the time, and the message was basically him sucking up to James and the de facto acknowledgement that he imitated himself after James. Unbeknownst to the Irate Gamer, James Nintendo Nerd was not run by James Rolfe the Nerd himself, but his sidekick, Mike Matai. Mike then posted the letter in its entirety to the Screw Attack forums, and for those who don't know, Screw Attack is the main distributor to the Angry Video Game Nerd's show. But when he posted this, a new flame war erupted on YouTube, but heavily spilt over onto Screw Attack, causing them to remove the posts and shut down their forums for a 24-hour period. By late 2007 and early 2008, the fanboy insurgency was reaching a critical mass. But things only escalated in early 2008 when Rmake, another popular video game reviewer, made a video lambasting the Irate Gamer, accusing him of having ulterior motives rooted in greed, as well as attacking his lack of originality, and went double for his army of slavering fanfucks, disparaging Rmake, James, and pretty much everyone else in favor of the Irate Gamer, who was objectively inferior. Also, Rmake's video is just a black screen of him talking, so I'm just going to leave a picture of him while he's talking. Also, the video is 11 minutes long, so highlights only.
Now, I want to address the fans of the Irate Gamer. It's okay if you like his work. I don't care. Watch his work. Be my fucking guest. But the moment you claim that he came before me and YouTube has modified it so that it looks like me and James and a bunch of other people came before him, that's where you fucking crossed the line. And you crossed it so hard that I'm going to break my foot off in your ass verbally. I don't really give a shit if this page closes down today. People had a good time. I had a good time. We'll laugh it up as Armageddon comes for this fucking website. Okay? I don't really care. Irate Gamer is here for money. He made this explicitly clear when he started selling a DVD with 12 half-assed episodes on it. I could make a fucking DVD set with 11 DVDs, and you still wouldn't have room for all my shit, including the extras that no one's ever seen. Stuff that I'm going to put on YouTube for absolutely nothing. But this bullshit has to come to a fucking conclusion somewhere along the way. I was here first. Face the facts and get over it. Your fucking idol did not come before me. In fact, he rips off me, James, and just about every other reviewer out there, including the fact that he goes to third-party pages and steals from them and thinks he's so fucking clever that I've never been to these pages. Go on iMockery. Go on Scene Baby's page. Go on a bunch of different people's pages who reviewed games long before the video review cycle occurred, and you will see that he is not original in the slightest. That, and he's not a fucking gamer. Who, listening to this right now, has to play Contra 3 on easy because they can't handle it on normal or hard? You hear the crickets? That's because any gamer worth their salt is not going to play Contra on easy. Contra on easy is a fucking joke. And more so, he bitched and moaned about the other two games. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. He proves non-stop that he's an ignorant motherfucker who doesn't know half as much as what he's talking about than he claims. He just looks pretty on camera. I'm surprised that fucking chair didn't collapse under his fat fucking ass and all his friggin' lies and contemplated bullshit. Zombies Ate My Neighbor sucks. Goonies 2 is garbage for X, Y, and Z reasons that are found in God knows how many Nintendo games and otherwise console games throughout history. You have got to be fucking kidding me. Classics that video games are built on have the same problems Goonies 2 has, or I shouldn't even say problems, let's put that in quotations, we'll go problems in quotations. Now let's go back to this. You're a fucking moron. That goes directly to the Irate Gamer. You could tell him Armag21 says he's a fucking moron. He's a goddamn sellout, and I don't want to hear another fucking word about him on my fucking page. You want to be his fan? Fine by me. Don't bring him up in my presence because he does nothing for me. He is, without a doubt, the scourge of YouTube. He came from out of nowhere and bought his way into fame. He's not famous. He's somebody you're going to fucking forget about in another year or so. Me? I'll still be kicking ass. You know why? I don't have a fuck. And he's a loser on top of that because he doesn't even let people comment. He won't even let me comment on his videos when he first shows up. That was my first indication that he was a jerk-off. My second indication is the fact that there were all these little messages posted all over boards and shit, which I know were put by him or someone he knows, that claim that me and James, everything else, ripped his ass off. Let me tell you something. That fat piece of shit came after us. So he has no claim to nothing. So tell him to go crawl back in his fucking hole and stay there. Because let me tell you something. My fame is fucking real. People in the street, they know me as Armag21 if they see me dressed as the getup. When I'm in character, people know who the fuck I am. Irate Gamer, you're a fat fuck sitting on a stool behind a green screen. Who the fuck are you to question my motives? That's right, I got you little fucking messages from you little fans left and right. Somebody's got to be telling these jerk-offs to come to my page. Because it dwarfs my mind that I'd even be called an Irate Gamer ripoff when we don't even review games from the same fucking generation. Who the fuck's sending these people here? They all are under one account. Various alternate accounts shifting around. And what's funny is they were some of the first subscribers to your work, some of these asswipes, who leave me private messages that if I brought them to the NY fucking PD, they'd think I was being stalked for my life. This shit has to end. And I'm ending it with this fucking video right here. This little audio perturb, as we'll call it from this point on. Irate Gamer, I don't like your work. I don't like you. I don't like your ethic. Get the fuck out of my face and take your motherfucking stupid, ignorant shit have been aborted with a fucking coat hanger fanboys the fuck out of my face before I get real angry and start figuring out how exactly to point out in every one of your fucking videos how unoriginal you really are. And I will go every fucking second and point everything out like they did with those MTV videos when they, or VH1, whatever the fuck it was, where they little pop-ups. I'll have 6 million pop-ups per video. You're not original. You're not funny. I fucking hate you. And I don't hate you for a personal reason. I hate you because ever since you've shown up, everything has gone to hell in a fucking handbasket.
And so the fanboys were out in full force and would be for some time. Just like Irate Fanboy 345 was created to attack James and defend Chris, another channel, Armake21 Truth, was made to attack Armake and defend Chris. But anyway, there was much bickering until people got bored and moved on. Some people were wondering who would respond to who first, publicly. Well, In 2009, for the first time, James Rolfe was asked a question by a fan in regards to his thoughts on the Irate Gamer, and this was his response.
What do you think of the Irate Gamer?
Well, answer as quickly as I can. I have no reason to answer it. I mean, he pretty much pretends that I don't exist, so why would I even need to say anything about it? I don't realize what that does.
To James, the Irate Gamer was never a threat. In several videos done by the Archfiend, historically one of the Irate Gamer's harshest critics who later made amends with him, points out that the Irate Gamer only got his reviews because back at the time in 2007 and 2008 on YouTube, if you wanted your channel to go big, you needed to become a YouTube partner. Unlike the Angry Video Game Nerd, the Irate Gamer was a partner and had the privilege of having his content featured on YouTube's homepage, which got him tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views at the time. However, the Angry Video Game Nerd was not a partner and were denied for the longest time. James was never featured despite the fact his reviews and popularity dwarfed that of the Irate Gamer at least several-fold. Basically led one to speculate that if the Irate Gamer did not become a partner, no one would have heard of him and this episode might not even have been made. But again, as a scholar of history, I caution people who make such claims due to the fact that no one can be sure unless that really happened. But anyway, that was the main focal point of contention between fans of the Angry Video Game Nerd and the Irate Gamer. He was on YouTube's payroll for copying James, while James himself was cut out from it. James was not a partner with YouTube due to YouTube's family-friendly horseshit. While Chris swore frequently in his videos, it was obviously not as frequently as James, and he did not do shit jokes either. Anyway, by the end of the late 2000s, the Irate Gamer's constant unauthorized borrowing earned him the wrath of the most knee-jerk of the Angry Video Game Nerd's slavering fanboys, who constantly bombarded him with negative reviews and feedback, even on videos he did that were original for the most part. And so, at the decade's twilight by late 2009 and early 2010, the Irate Gamer faded into relative obscurity. But we are not done with him yet. The Irate Gamer landed in hot water again in 2011 when he decided to shill for DealDash.com, a penny auction site widely regarded as a scam.
Hey guys, Irate Gamer here with some awesome news. For a while now, I've been talking to a few websites in order to get some contests going for you guys.
To be able to enter this iPad giveaway, here's what you're going to have to do. Step number one, of course, is sign up for DealDash.com.
All you need to do in order to win is sign up for DealDash.com.
Go over there, get signed up, get your username.
So you can just go check out the site, test it out.
What you're going to need to do is post a comment with your Twitter username and your DealDash username.
You bring it right back here on my YouTube channel.
You come back to this video, I need you to leave a comment in the comments box down there with your DealDash username.
Leave a comment with the username that you have at that site.
Now I've also worked out a deal with them. If you sign up with your Facebook account, they'll automatically give you $5 into your DealDash account.
And you do it through your Facebook account, you're going to get $5 worth of free bids.
They will also give you $5 to play with.
You get a free $5 to just play with.
You must be subscribed to my channel.
Of course, make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel.
Oh, and you need to be subscribed to my YouTube channel as well.
So, how is it a scam?
Hey guys, after seeing Tobuscus's video on DealDash.com, I decided to try it out and spend my free $5. Yeah, free my ass. Before I signed up, I had this feeling that the site was too good to be true, so I actually read the terms and conditions, or whatever they're called, and I got down to here. It says, by registering and using DealDash.com, or just Deal Dash, you understand that you are likely to spend more money than you may receive in product value. Most customers using the site lose money. Deal Dash pays out on an average between 70% and 90% of the money spent by customers back through product value. And so there you are. Sorry to disappoint you, but if you're willing to spend hundreds of dollars with a chance of getting something for cheap, then go right ahead. But most likely, you're probably just going to lose all your money. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Well, to give him the benefit of the doubt, Chris was probably thinking he was just shilling for a website that seemed legit, and was probably not in on losing his subscribers their money. But anyway, that blew over rather quickly, actually. Well, remember the Archfiend? I mentioned he was a longtime critic of the Irate Gamer and a longtime fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd. Again, historically. He started to become disillusioned with James after Mike posted the Irate Gamer's email to the Screw Attack forums, and later became a critic of the Angry Video Game Nerd when he accused him of e-begging while crowdfunding for his film, which he later admitted he was wrong. But one day, a little over 2 years ago, in September 2014, the Archfiend visited the Irate Gamer's channel, which has since been named CB Network or Chris Bohr's Network. He watched one of his reviews on a Skylanders product and became practically disgusted that 5 years later, the Irate Gamer still receives an unending barrage of unwarranted negativity. And yes, the Archfiend, despite being one of the most overly cynical persons on the internet, was correct that 5 years after the fact, the Irate Gamer ceased his plagiarism tactics, and remarkably the quality of his content, while still inferior to James, had significantly improved. And the people who went out of their way to hate on him at this point were pretty much, to say they were beating a dead horse would be an understatement. But beating the horse's grave, and to be frank, they were just kind of being losers. But the Archfiend's video prompted Chris to come forward with his side of the story. The video in question is about 40 minutes long, and while giving his side of the story, I put particular emphasis on the words his and story. While the Archfiend was correct to say that there was no point in giving the Irate Gamer shit anymore, turns out that assertion would be short-lived. In this video, Chris Bohr's is speaking as himself and not as the Irate Gamer. He had the potential to redeem himself, but instead was pretty disingenuous on why he got the shit that he got, and made up some rather extraordinary claims without even providing the weakest shred of evidence to back it up. Not to mention, he just straight up lies at times. Long story short, he tries to make himself out to be the victim and James the big bad guy. And look, I'm trying to be objective here, but when coming across all this information apart from the particular piece you're looking at, Chris really is just trying to cover his ass. And he even makes some pre-2016 election impressions of both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. But let's watch the highlights.
Well, this is going to be quite an interesting video. As you know, Archfiend, of all people, ended up making a video on me recently about some of the hate that this channel gets still, and I thought it was a very interesting video, and he made a lot of great points in that video. So let's rewind this thing all the way back to 2006. Okay, so that was, what, 8 years ago? And one of the big things on YouTube back in that day were these things called angry reviews of old video games. I mean, it was the in thing that I just stumbled across. And that first night, I was just like, wow, this is so cool. I really found something that I was inspired by. And, you know, of course, James was doing it. And I sit down, and I'm like, what do I do? Back to the Future. I've always hated this game. Let's do Back to the Future. So that was my first review. And a lot of the jokes in there, yeah, they're corny, they're stupid. Some stuff I borrowed from other reviews because I didn't know what else to do. It was my very first review. And you know, by this time, I had maybe 100 fans subscribed to my channel. And a lot of these fans were in the know. They knew everything that was going down. And they told me about this Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And they're like, hey, you should enter your stuff into the contest because it's really, you do a great job with editing and all this stuff. You're skilled. You know, maybe you get some more views that way. Because, yeah, my videos had like maybe 200 views at this point. You know, a drop in the bucket compared to what they were, you know, in months that follow. We'll get to that. But, yeah, I even had somebody from Game Trailers actually email me and say, hey, you should enter into this contest. So, over that summer, and you'll even see on the videos that a lot of my videos were just, you know, quickly banged out that summer. And I submitted all these into that Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And, you know, of course, I used some of his, well, I should say a lot of his personality traits and whatnot and threw those into the video to out-nerd him, basically. Because that's what the rules of the contest were. And, you know, I submitted them. I had people from Game Trailers be like, oh my god, these are great, you're going to win if you enter, and all this other stuff. So, yeah, I submitted all this stuff. And after that, I found out that another guy won. His name was the Happy Nerd, I guess. And I watched the video and I said to myself, you've got to be kidding me. This is what won the contest? It was nothing like the nerd. And, you know, I was kind of miffed by that. Because I put a lot of hard work and energy into this, and, you know, I thought I was a lock for the winner. Well, I later found out that the contest was rigged. And I'm sure James had a hand in actually picking the winner. And, of course, that was kind of the first time he, you know, kind of snuffed me at that point. But I was like, okay, well, whatever. So, you know, I kept making reviews, and I made the Mario review, and then the Muscle review. And at some point, I ended up getting featured on YouTube. Now, when you get featured on YouTube back in 2007, this was a big deal. You showed up everywhere. You showed up at the side of the pages. You showed up on the front page. You showed up absolutely everywhere. Every nook and cranny of YouTube, you popped up. And that's exactly what happened. And, you know, I will say, for someone who is so concerned about copying, how come I've never seen a Let's Play video on his channel posted before PewDiePie came along? Yeah, I've never seen anyone make that observation. You know, I would announce things that I wanted to review. I announced, oh, I'm going to review Silver Surfer. He did it a month later. And then I announced, oh, I'm going to do Superman. Superman 64. He did that a month later. So there came a point where I had to stop posting on my website the reviews that I wanted to do because James would always beat me to the punch. I did stuff for the fun of it. That's pretty much all I've wanted to do is entertain people, and that's all I'll try to do in the future. So thanks again for watching. Love the fans. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So thanks again, and until next time, game on.
Let's carefully scrutinize the glaring things he said. If you just take his word at face value, it doesn't seem too unreasonable what he's saying, but upon actually doing some proper investigating of what he has to say, well, a lot of it just seems to just fall apart. Since I'm not going to analyze all of his claims, again, just key ones. I mean, remember, this video is 40 minutes long. If we were to investigate every claim, we're going to be here all day. For this segment, I'll be primarily using blog articles from BatDan and DLA Bakua, or however the hell you pronounce that, as the sources for refuting what he is going to say. even though there are some things I found on my own.
What do? Back to the Future. I've always hated this game. Let's do Back to the Future. So that was my first review. And a lot of the jokes in there, yeah, they're corny, they're stupid. Some stuff I borrowed from other reviews.
Stop. Let's hear that again.
I borrowed from other reviews.
Right here. Using euphemisms, he just made a de facto confession to ripping off, quote-unquote, other reviewers. Note how he never names James in particular, or even all the other people he claims he was. But it's quite obvious from his past material his primary source was James. If he had just said, I borrowed from James, I would have been completely fine with that. But let's look at the letter he sent to James. Because even in that, you find some areas that are pretty self-contradictory. Alright, here we go, reading from it, quote, anyhow, I just wanted to let you know I've been a fan of your videos since I saw your Ninja Turtles game review around last year, and I gotta say, it was very inspiring to me, end quote. And remember, the Angry Video Game Nerd's Ninja Turtle review was released in June 2006, and the Irate Gamer's was released September 2007. But he continues, quote, although in my earlier reviews, I will admit I accidentally used some of your well-known made-up words in my review, I only found this out because people were telling me I did. I felt really bad about it and still do because the last thing I want to do is steal your catchphrases, end quote. So, let's get this straight. Chris has been a fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd for quite some time, but just somehow by accident uses the term shitload of fuck and didn't even know he stole the catchphrase until people told him. This is very hard to believe considering that James uttered the exact same phrase in the exact same review that Chris claims was what inspired him to do videos in the first place.
What a shitload of fuck.
There was this thing on game trailers called the Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And, you know, by this time I had maybe 100 fans subscribed to my channel. And a lot of these fans were in the know. They knew everything that was going down. And they told me about this Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And they're like, hey, you should enter your stuff into the contest because it's really, you do a great job with editing and all this stuff. You're skilled. You know, maybe you get some more views that way. Because, yeah, my videos had like maybe 200 views at this point. You know, a drop in the bucket compared to what they were.
From what I can gather, the Out Nerd the Nerd contest was held in August 2007. Chris already made his reviews several months before then, and by the time the contest was held, his views and subscribers were not in the low hundreds, but in the thousands. His Super Mario Bros. 2 came out that month, and that was the one that really got him all that subscribers, so.
You know, in months that follow. We'll get to that. But, yeah, I even had somebody from Game Trailers actually email me and say, hey, you should enter into this contest.
Chris just claimed someone from Game Trailers asked him to join the contest. I'm going to read directly from the Batdan blog article on why there are many problems with this. Quote, 650. Chris says someone from Game Trailers emailed him and asked him to enter the contest. Okay, two things wrong with this. Number one, it would not have been professional for the contest holder to specifically ask people to enter the contest. That's preferential treatment and won't happen simply because contests are supposed to be equal opportunity. Otherwise, it's a scam. Number two, Chris does not bother to list or keep the invitation letter because that would take effort. Where this is going exactly, this has nothing to do with your current situation, Chris. End quote.
So, over that summer, and you'll even see on the videos that a lot of my videos were just, you know, quickly banged out that summer. And I submitted all these into that Out Nerd the Nerd contest. And, you know, of course, I used some of his, well, I should say a lot of his personality traits and whatnot and threw those into the video to out-nerd him, basically. Because that's what the rules of the contest were.
The contest rules can no longer be found. And here, if what Chris is saying is true, then he completely misunderstood Out Nerd the Nerd, from what I can gather. And he says he was justified engaging in the unauthorized borrowing from James because that was his plan to out Nerd the Nerd. Again, the contest was to out Nerd the Nerd, not become the nerd or out-angry the angry, which it seems that's what Chris was trying to get at. And then he also fails to explain why he continued to engage in unauthorized borrowing even long after the contest was over.
And, I submitted them. I had people from Game Trailers be like, oh my god, these are great, you're going to win if you enter, and all this other stuff.
Wait. Let's hear that again.
I submitted them. I had people from Game Trailers be like, oh my god, these are great, you're going to win if you enter.
So let's get this straight. Chris claims he submitted his reviews to the contest. Then the folks at Game Trailers said he would definitely win if he entered the contest. How the fuck do you submit content to a contest before even entering it?
So, yeah, I submitted all this stuff. And after that, I found out that another guy won. His name was the Happy Nerd, I guess. And I watched the video and I said to myself, you've got to be kidding me. This is what won the contest? It was nothing like the nerd. And, I was kind of miffed by that. Because I put a lot of hard work and energy into this, and, I thought I was a lock for the winner. Well, I later found out that the contest was rigged.
The contest was rigged. Well, that is an extraordinary claim and provides flat zero evidence for this. I even tried digging around for this on the internet, and I can't find shit. But let's briefly profile the winner, the happy video game nerd, whose real name is Derek Alexander, who now operates the channel under the name Stop Skeletons from Fighting. This is his first video.
This game kicks ass! Fuck yeah! Well, let me be completely honest with you about this one. Oh boy, I love this game. I mean, I loved it as a kid growing up, and I love it just as much now. It's one of my favorite games for the Nintendo. And in terms of action, I put it up there with like the Mega Mans, the Castlevanias, the first two Double Dragons, the Ninja Gaidens. I mean, this game kicks ass. It makes me so happy. But I'm upset. The only really unfortunate thing about Metal Storm is I don't have anybody to share my enthusiasm with. I mean, it's sad, but Metal Storm was a game that was completely overlooked, left behind, and forgotten.
In early 1991, Irate released Metal Storm for the 8-bit Nintendo Entertainment System. Irate is most known for creating one of the best classic shooter series of all time, R-Type. They are also responsible for Kicko Cubicle, another underrated NES classic, Holy Diver, and as well as the well-documented shitfest, Deadly Towers. It is worth mentioning that Deadly Towers was made nearly 5 years before Metal Storm. Now the first thing you'll notice is that the graphics are some of the best on the system. I mean, look at the detail of your little mech. The enemies are just as well designed. Man, dying never looked so good. Now the major gimmick and genius of Metal Storm is your ability to manipulate gravity. By simply pressing A while holding up or down, you'll jump to either the ceiling or back down to the floor. This is similar to Gravity Man's stage in Mega Man 5, but I just want to point out that Metal Storm was made nearly 2 years before, and if anything, Capcom ripped off Irate. But either way, this is an amazing idea and they really ran with it.
It's not hard to figure out how Derek won. He out-nerded the nerd. Seriously, nothing exposes one as a nerd more than being passionate about things nerds are passionate about, like vintage 80s video games. If you watch his reviews, Chris doesn't even act like a nerd in his videos. He acts more like a dude bro gamer who just likes NES games. Furthermore, it's worth noting that Derek actually put a decent amount of relevant information in his videos, while Chris's information was minimal at best.
And I'm sure James had a hand in actually picking the winner. And, of course, that was kind of the first time he, kind of snuffed me at that point.
This is where he starts to get malicious. One can get he was salty about losing the contest, but this is a vicious claim. Again, no proof provided that the contest was rigged, and then he says James probably had a hand in it. and he then makes it sound like James went out of his way to snuff him, as he puts it. Again, no proof James handpicked the Happy Video Game Nerd to be the winner. And from the DLA BQ whatever article, the contest was actually not even James or Mike's idea, but was either Stuttering Craig or Handsome Tom's idea. Otherwise, it's unsure.
But I was like, okay, well, whatever. So, you know, I kept making reviews, and I made the Mario review, and then the Muscle review, and at some point, I ended up getting featured on YouTube. Now, when you get featured on YouTube back in 2007, this was a big deal. You showed up everywhere.
Oh yes, he got featured all right. But he deceitfully mentions this after the events he just detailed to make it sound like he got featured after that. But this was actually untrue, because it was, again, in August 2007 when he first got featured. And even before then, his viewers were much higher than that. And he conveniently neglects to mention that he got featured because he became a YouTube partner, and instead makes it sound like YouTube just one day arbitrarily decided to just feature his videos for the fuck of it and just say it happened so he could get popular.
And, you know, I will say, for someone who is so concerned about copying, how come I've never seen a Let's Play video on his channel posted before PewDiePie came along?
You know why he didn't see one before PewDiePie came along? Because he didn't fucking look very hard. Here's a video that James and Mike recorded in April 2009, then later uploaded in September of 2009. It is a video of them playing Odyssey, almost exactly how they do James and Mike Mondays. I repeat, they did this in 2009, a whole fucking year before PewDiePie even launched his channel. As we're concerned with copying, to my knowledge, James has never complained publicly about the Irate Gamer ripping him off. And it's as you said, he doesn't mind people just doing game reviews or even angry ones. But he obviously would mind that Chris copied his entire fucking playbook with the exact same points and exact same near identical phrases, all while Chris was on YouTube's payroll at the time and James wasn't.
You know, I would announce things that I wanted to review. I announced, oh, I'm going to review Silver Surfer. He did it a month later. And then I announced, oh, I'm going to do Superman. Superman 64. He did that a month later.
He is lying maliciously yet again to make it sound like James was out to screw him over. October 2008 is when the Irate Gamer would announce his intentions to review Superman and the Silver Surfer. Want to know when James did his? James' Silver Surfer review was released on Game Trailers in June 2007. And his Superman reviews came out in June and July 2008. Okay, I think you guys get the point by now. He's full of shit. The two articles will be left in the description for those who want to see the full picking apart of Chris's 40-minute video. But anyway, after this video, Chris just went back to making whatever videos he makes now. It was some time ago he retired the Irate Gamer character and just made videos as himself. So what is he up to now? Well, he uploads videos almost as infrequently as I do, mostly a bunch of boxing shit and his original interest in doing videos on the paranormal. As for his show, The Irate Gamer, I think Gemma99 will get a kick out of this fact. The Irate Gamer on IMDb has a score of 2.2 out of 10. To put that into perspective, Battlefield Earth, which won the Razzie for Worst Movie of the 2000s, has a score of 2.4 out of 10. Let that sink in. You're better off watching this.
You were still learning how to spell your name. I was being trained to conquer galaxies.
As compared to this.
So where are you off to all snazzed up?
Well, if you must know, I have a premiere party to attend. So do you think this looks okay?
Yeah, sure.
But hey, not all is bad, because as of November 2016, he has a little over 160,000 subscribers, meaning he is more successful and even far more relevant than the opinionated wobbling hunk of lard known as Movie Bob. Since Chris has retired the Irate Gamer and is just making videos as himself, one cannot berate him for his latter-day success. But until he admits he was more than just inspired by James and admits he lied in his opening up video, Respect for him among many will yet to be earned. Well, that concludes our saga for today. This saga was actually more in-depth than I thought it would be, and in fact, I had a draft about recording all this, but then I went back to add more stuff just for your guys' enjoyment. Moving forward, we got one more to go, and hopefully it will be out in a month's time. But I will mention that my next top 10 will be out before then, so stay tuned for that and our season finale.
What?